The scent of cedar stain and coastal salt air clung to my hands as I drove the final nail into the weathered porch of my grandmother's beach house. It was late September 2023, and I'd spent weeks restoring the place she'd built in 1968 on this quiet stretch of Oregon's shoreline. Every board I replaced felt like stitching her memory back into the world, her laughter, her stubborn pride in this land. I was wiping sweat from my brow when 3 figures in neon yellow vests marched up my gravel path, their boots crunching with purpose. They planted a metal sign at the edge of my property: community access, emergency vehicle turnaround. My hammer froze midair. The leader, a woman named Clara, clutched a clipboard like it was a scepter, her voice sharp with self-awarded authority. "This area is designated for fire truck staging," she declared, pointing at my driveway like she owned it. "We'll install gates before winter." My stomach twisted. This was my land, inherited clean through a proper estate sale. No one had mentioned easements or access rights in 50 years. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. I stepped off the porch, gripping a bent nail my grandmother always called her lucky charm. "Show me the legal right-of-way," I said, sharper than I meant. Clara's smile didn't waver, but her eyes narrowed. "The Coastal Safety Committee has jurisdiction over emergency routes," she said, waving her clipboard like it held divine law. "This is for everyone's safety." I pulled out my phone and hit record, instinct screaming I'd need proof later. The sign's professional polished sleek metal, bold lettering reeked of money and planning. This wasn't a neighborly mix-up. This was a move. That night, headlights swept my windows at midnight, then again at 2 a.m. Slow and deliberate. By the third pass, I was wide awake, the lucky nail turning in my palm. Someone was watching, testing if I'd fold. The next morning, a thick envelope jammed my mailbox: Coastal Safety Guidelines, stamped in red ink like a government decree. 25 pages of jargon about community safety zones and emergency access permissions. It read like a trap, words woven to confuse. I drove to my neighbor Henry's place, a grizzled fisherman who'd lived here since the 60s. "Ever hear of safety zones for fire trucks on private land?" I asked, holding up the envelope. Henry snorted, setting down his coffee. "In 50 years, I've never seen a fire truck need anyone's yard. They stage at the harbor lot." He flipped through the papers, his face darkening. "Got a bill last month for safety upgrades. $90. Dated August 10th, before they even mentioned this nonsense." The timeline hit like a rogue wave. They'd been collecting fees before announcing plans, before planting signs. This wasn't oversight. This was a hustle. Henry's kitchen became our war room. County maps showed no easements on my lot, no safety zones. The HOA's documents painted a fantasy world where they ruled private land. We traced their moves: August fees, September signs, October paperwork. Each step screamed coordination. I dug into county records, online tax rolls, deeds, plats. My land was clean. No shared obligations. But the HOA's materials: expensive, professional, designed to intimidate. Henry leaned back, eyes sharp. "Clara tried this with the Millers last year. Fence line dispute. They sold and left." My blood ran cold. This was a playbook test: who'd fight, who'd break. Days later, I woke to orange traffic cones blocking my driveway. A laminated sign zip-tied to one: safety survey in progress. 2 workers measured my yard with a surveyor's wheel, calling out numbers to a third with a clipboard. I grabbed my phone, recording as I stormed out. "Who authorized this?" I demanded. The clipboard guy blinked, caught off guard. Coastal Safety Committee hired us for emergency route assessment. I pressed, "Show me the permit for work on private land." They flipped through papers, whispering, then admitted they didn't have one. I moved the cones to the public road, narrating to my camera, "This is what HOA overreach looks like." The workers packed up, one muttering, "We'll tell the office about the access issue." Henry called later, chuckling grimly. "Cones are new. Last year, they stuck to paperwork." I asked if others were targeted. "Yeah," he said. "The Johnsons got hit with fence rules. It's systematic." The pattern was clear: fake authority, pressure through signs and fees, collect cash or compliance. I organized my evidence: photos of the sign, videos of the cones, audio of workers admitting no permits. Then came the anonymous text at 11 p.m. "Stop digging or it gets messy." I screenshot it, my pulse racing. They were scared. Legit operations don't send midnight threats. The next morning, a contractor's truck roared into my yard, a post-hole digger humming. "Emergency gate foundation," the driver said, holding a work order listing Coastal Safety Committee as the property owner. My voice cracked with disbelief. "This is my land. I never approved this." I showed my deed. He called his boss. They left, but not before I got the work order Clara's name bolded, claiming authority she didn't have. The county confirmed no permits existed. The contractor's emails, forwarded later, were chilling. Clara bragged about pushing work through without ownership checks, admitting the emergency access was to justify fees already collected. A written confession of fraud. Clara escalated. 6 neighbors showed up Saturday, her at the helm, claiming an emergency response meeting at my house. "Community safety requires cooperation," she said, stepping toward my door. I blocked her, reframing, "Let's talk property rights." I spread out county maps, deeds, and emails on my dining table, the air thick with coffee and ink. Neighbors: Tom the surveyor, Martha the retired librarian, leaned in, tracing boundaries, whispering. Clara's safety spiel faltered as Tom pointed out her maps didn't match county records. "These routes are on private land. No easements filed," he said. Martha's voice cut through, claiming authority without proof is fraud. The room turned. Neighbors shared their own stories: fees for upkeep on private yards, fake fence violations. Clara rifled through her binder, floundering. Safety overrides objections, she insisted, but no one bought it. Tom asked for permit records. Silence. The crowd left buzzing, swapping numbers, forming a resistance. Monday's mail brought a county notice: violations for brush clearance and driveway width. Retaliation. Timed perfectly. I'd cleared my brush in July, and county rules didn't mandate driveway widths for private lots. I documented everything: photos, compliance records, and called the county. Inspector Daniels arrived Wednesday, puzzled. "Your property's fine," he said, snapping photos. "This looks like harassment." He flagged my lot for extra scrutiny on future complaints. That night, I found tire tracks in my backyard, an orange X spray painted on my fence. Trespass, vandalism, intimidation. I called Henry. "Same as the Millers," he said. "They left after this." I wouldn't. At the community center, I laid out 4 folders: county routes, historical deeds, boundary records, fee timelines. Neighbors filled the room, clutching notebooks. Tense. Clara arrived with her deputy, Laura, and 2 suited men, exuding control. I opened with, "I'm no lawyer, but here's what the county says." Maps showed fire trucks used public lots, not private driveways. Deeds proved my land's clean title. Fee records exposed August bills predating access claims. Tom's surveyor eye caught Clara's misaligned diagrams. Martha demanded legal proof. Clara's rhetoric safety. Unity crumbled against facts. Daniel stepped in. HOAs can't mandate private land access without easements. The room erupted. Neighbors recognized their own fee notices, their own pressures. We've been played, Martha said. Clara's eyes locked on mine, mouthing, "This isn't over." A week later, the county acted. Clara was reprimanded for overreach. Laura resigned after using outdated records. Fees were refunded with fines. The HOA issued corrective letters, admitting no authority over private land. New rules required verified permits for future work. Neighbors met again. Tom leading talks on legal channels. Martha emphasizing rights. I finished my grandmother's porch, mounting a plaque, Bennett family property. Est. 1968. The ex was gone. The air clear. Standing on that deck. Salt breeze in my face. I felt her pride. This wasn't just a house site, was a stand for truth. What would you have done, fought, or folded? Could you stare down a clipboard army? Should neighbors band together or go solo against fraud? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like if this gripped you. And subscribe for more stories where truth wins. Share this with someone who'd fight for their land.